Rise Shine Saturday special edition on Salvation Television. And of course, I am Kenneth OKZ. Of course, on today's edition, we're looking at a couple of very interesting stories as regards the state of the nation. A lot of talk for a couple of months now, if not years, about the social media bill sitting at the National Assembly. Now, of course, this present administration has persistently emphasized on the need for regulating the social media, looking at what social media can do and why there might be a need to sort of start censoring things in this space. Now, to drive the conversation further, we're being joined by Anki Briggs this morning as she talks about this particular matter. Good morning to you, Anki Briggs. Good morning to you, Anki Briggs.
Okay, well, good morning, Ken. How are you?
I'm fine. Okay, Anki Briggs is a human rights activist and also a very strong social media advocate as well. Of course, also joining us to talk about this particular matter is Mazi Tochukwu Ezoki. He is a public affairs analyst, a social media influencer, and also he joins us this morning to talk about this particular one. Good morning to you, Mazi Ezoki.
Good morning, Ken.
So how's your week been?
Well, my week has been okay, and yours. I hope you're fine.
I'm fine. So let's get talking, everyone. We're looking at state of the polity. We're analyzing the social media regulation. All have been said about it. But quickly, I would like to begin with Anki Briggs now. Hello, Anki.
Hello.
As we look at the state of the polity with emphasis on the proposed regulation of social media, at this, of course, the Nigerian government has continuously insisted on regulating its social media. Of course, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has also stressed the need for censorship, considering the trend of events in the past week. How does this move come to you?
Well, first of all, if we realize that we're talking about the issue of the freedom of speech, freedom of information, and very quickly, let me put this on your burner. The governor of Lagos is in the eye of the storm, as far as I'm concerned right now, by denying the lawyer access to the freedom to access the information of the panel going on in Lagos on some aspects of it. So this is part of the rights that we are entitled to. If you also recall that this very government is a government that came in on the activities of social media, some they were that were being fed to Nigeria and Nigerians and the world, and even Obama's social media people, the people that really generated his activities of campaign, came in to help. So for this government to get to this point where they want to shut down access of people to social media is unacceptable. I do agree, and I think some of us are victims. Even Mazi is a victim. I'm a victim of propaganda, disinformation on people like us, on why we do what we do and how we do it. So yes, I agree that there is an aspect, but then it doesn't have to concern only social media. You don't have to tell lies. You don't have to manufacture stories. You tell the truth, you stay with the truth. But because people are telling lies, we have laws in Nigeria that will allow you, if we function properly, to go to court if somebody has defamed your character, if somebody has said what is untrue about you and it brings problems for you, you can go to court.
Thank you.
But to say because of politics you want to shut down social media is unacceptable, is illegal, and it's against basic human rights.
So are you saying that we already have existing laws that could actually, punish offenders when they tell lies or when they actually misinform people? And are you also saying that there's no need for regulating the social media?
Yes, I am saying so because you see, if I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot quote whatever they will be able to quote. But the reality is that we have existing laws in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria and other countries, so that even people who make broadcasts from outside Nigeria as Nigerians and feed it into Nigeria, like somebody like my brother Mazi there, he has you said he's a media, a social media influencer. He is, so now if he is issuing statements and making calls that are untrue, that may even destabilize certain aspects of our government or the government, he should be held accountable. There are laws both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria that will very well take care of this type of thing. But when you now say because one person is doing something wrong, then I and Q that has not done anything wrong with social media or broken the law should be punished for it. No, it is wrong. It is taking away our basic rights. Let us do what is right in Nigeria and begin to do what is right in Nigeria if we really want to change Nigeria and to keep Nigeria together.
Okay, I'll come back to you in a bit. Let's talk to Mazi. It's okay now. Hello, Mazi.
Yeah, good morning, Ken, once more. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, but quickly, on social media regulation or censorship, should Nigerians be worried? That should be one of the questions people are actually begging for answers. Should Nigerians be worried about the proposed regulation of social media?
Well, you see, there are two things we need to understand here. On its own, the bill is not entirely wrong. I must be fair here, because the bill seeks to criminalize the use of social media in peddling falsehood or malicious information, which is, you wake up today, someone probably photoshops your face, gets maybe a woman, a girl, or anything, and merges them together, probably publishes them saying, now you can see Ken has 17 wives, or something like that. So, the intent, it's malicious. It is peddling of falsehood in order to tarnish your image. It could be that maybe as a sitting governor, you wake up, you hear that you have gone into a particular place and you've raised everything down whereas you're sleeping, right? So let's get that clear. Now, the intention here, in the letters of the law, could be, I say could, that word there carefully, could be right. But the danger, however, is, now, you ask yourself, what is the reason? Again, as Ankyo said at the beginning, this government is a government that came into power by using the social media. The activities of the last 3 weeks has confirmed, because many of us has been skeptical about this, but the activities of the last 3 weeks has confirmed that we should be skeptical about this law. Suddenly you find out that a people who have been able to execute and demand that they leave by organizing a protest called NSAS are now having their account frozen, are now having their passports seized, many of them based on their activities on social media. Again, we have existing laws. That has to do with malicious publication. I mean, if we have libel laws, if you wake up tonight and think, okay, I want to hit Maz because he's got many followers, and you write rubbish about me, or maybe my company writes something that is outright falsehood, of course, within the confines of the existing law today, you could sue me and take me to court. Remember Saraki versus Sahara Reporters. What law did Saraki use in getting Sahara Reporters in seizing their assets and freezing their money? The issue is that most times, in as much as that we understand what the intent is, you see that many people in the National Assembly always want to bring laws for the sake of bringing laws.
Okay,
Or,
Mazi, I have to come in here. Talking about the National Assembly and enacting laws, proposing laws, we know that there's a social media bill was actually brought on 8th Assembly, and of course we also see it now in the 9th Assembly. What we want to understand, though, what does this bill tend to achieve? Because it has actually been up again. So what does it tend to achieve? And of course also the timing.
well, again, we are talking about a bill sponsored by Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, okay? And obviously, he's one of the conservatives from the northern part of the country. And the bill has scaled, second reading on the floors of the Senate, and its details were made public. What are they trying to achieve here? The bill moved to, the point of getting the public to come in. At that point is where, everyone ought to get involved now to say, this bill doesn't sit well with us. What does it want to achieve? On the peripheral, the bill seeks to stop the peddling of falsehood and malicious information. These are the two key keywords, right? But the real intent is beyond that. The real intent, in my mind, is that I find out that you, Ken Okezie, you're a senator of ABC district. Now, I have information showing that you actually commingled the resources meant for rehabilitation of some certain project. Now, you want to threaten me with social media bill that if I've published that, because why social media bill actually, that is the question that should worry Nigerians. Because conventional media, there are things that editors will tell, oh yeah, if we publish this, the government probably will stop patronizing us, they wouldn't give us adverts. But the social media space don't give a hoot. Many people just want to, want good governance. There is no editor. Man is the editor, so want to publish that.
Okay, Mazi, I have to come back to you in a bit. Let's talk to Ankyo now. Hello, Ankyo. Hello, Ankyo.
Oh, wait. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All right.
I also understand you're also an active user of social media. You do lots of campaigns on social media as well, try to reach out to people. But apparently, the social media seem to be the only media where people seem to air their views on societal matters. So an active user of the medium, what do you think will be the implication of the proposed censorship or the regulation of social media? What will be the implication on Nigerians?
The bill says, and I'm reading it now, the bill says that it is set up to, or it is being proposed to criminalize the use of social media in peddling false or malicious information. Having read that, that is perfectly okay, because I will not be happy if somebody wakes up one morning and says, and is this, and is that. And if that thing is not true, then it is malicious and it is detrimental, even sometimes to life. The information can be detrimental to life. So now, if that is the only reason, then that's good. But the real intent or the suspicion that there is an undertone to this intent is what the worry is about. Because the real intent to people like us and to humanity all over the place is that freedom to information is a basic human right. If that be so, then if falsehood is peddled, we should be encouraged and supported to seek redress on that falsehood.
Okay, Ankyo, let me come in here. Because apparently from your explanations this morning, you've talked about the need for social media, also the fact that some persons do a lot of things on social media that's actually not good. Now, but my question is, are you afraid or even concerned about some of the danger that lies in the use of social media that we've seen? I mean, not only in Nigeria, but some parts of the world. That it comes with what you've even raised this morning about fake news and hate speeches.
Yes, see, that concern is there. And as I also said along in that sentence, there are also laws across the world and in Nigeria to redress that issue. If somebody takes a photograph of Ann Kubrick's and put it on, I don't know, how bad can I get, and put it on a naked body, well, with me anyway, it might be a little bit difficult, but well, anyway, and put it on a naked body and says, this is Ann Kubrick's in a compromising situation, then if I know that it is not me and I can identify the person who is peddling it, I will go to court. Because you see, again, there is this sentiment we have in Nigeria particularly. Say, if person talk something, if no be true, why no answer? You know, that type of thing. I do that as well. And that's why you will find that people will say, oh, don't mind them, just leave them alone. And I say, no, I will not leave them alone. Because you see, there is this concept that if somebody says something and it's not true, then you're expected to respond. You're expected to respond to it. But honestly, we have to ask ourselves as electorates in Nigeria, when a bill, any bill, it doesn't matter whether it's coming from the Niger Delta, is in the interest of Rivers State or Edo State or not, if somebody raises a bill on the floor, it is necessary for us to look at the bill and say, how does that affect me? How does this bill affect me? Is it good for my interest? Is it not good for my interest? And we must base our decisions and our oppositions based on this. It's not, we're not going to accept it because it abuses our human rights to freedom of speech and freedom of information and gathering to a very large extent. But yes, I am worried that there are people who use social media wickedly to tell lies and to propagate evil against other people. Yes, those people must be taken to court. You don't use a sledgehammer to swat a fly when you can use a newspaper to swat the same fly.
Okay, I'll come back to you in a bit. Very, it's one tricky and exciting way of telling your story there. But quickly, let's talk to Mazi now. Hello, Mazi.
Yes, I can hear you.
And now I want to talk about free speech now, which is more like the argument a lot of people who are actually social media users, they actually bring, and when they talk about regulating social media, they look at free speech. So as regards keeping people's, regulated on social media, we have a right to free speech to air our views. But I also like to actually, point out something, maybe a counter argument in there. If you are freely speaking your mind on the street or to people around you, it's seen as a different dynamics as against when you are on social media and your voice can be amplified. Now, we have seen cases, especially in the last couple of days, where sort of religion and tribal sentiment have been wiped out by certain people just by putting things out there. Isn't that a viable reason, for example, to say, let's look at how to control this space?
Well, again, it depends on the information in reference. If the information in reference is false, then it becomes an issue. But if the information is correct, but because you or the government doesn't like it, tough luck, right? So again, I always go back to the variability of that information. Is that information verifiable? Is that information correct? If the answer is yes, sadly and sorry, if it does not sit well with you, so be it. But where the issue is when we begin to manufacture outright lies in order to gain mileage, then it becomes totally wrong. And that, again, I repeat, is already in existence. There is a law, you have libel law, you have, these are things already taken care of. Okay, if someone says, obviously here sometimes the only difference here is that maybe depending on who is peddling the information, it might be sometimes on social media, it might be hard for you to track the individual. So that will be, but if not, if this, because obviously even when you publish on the internet, there are pages, there are handles that are verified, and you know, okay, if Mazezoke says this thing here now on my verified handle, then you can go back and obviously, you know, take legal action in order to get me to either debunk or retract or withdraw the information that has been shared. Now, in terms of the ethnicity angle to it, remember, it's actually funny because if you remember, when things started happening, yes, there was some ethnic angle to it, but the question is, where is it coming from? Could government have done, you know, gone after those individuals that peddle such falsehood within the context of the existing law? The answer is simple, yes. Government could have done that. Now, their inability to do that should not be, you know, be taken on others by saying, okay, we have to now look at the social media bill, or rather push a bill. Now, there is something that has happened in the last couple of days that actually begin to worry anyone into knowing that this is not well intended. You listen to the Minister of Information the other day saying that, oh, we need to control the social media space, and that is worrying. And he made a comparison with China, where he said, oh, in China, you can't even use WhatsApp. You can't even use Instagram. Now I'm insinuating to Instagram. You know, that tells you when we talk about analog generation who does not understand what these things mean. Now, how can you be talking about what China does? You pick and choose. Now, what does China do to their corrupt politicians? You forgot that. And again, he does not understand that we go to China, I go to China, I go to Dubai. Yes, you don't use WhatsApp, but we use WhatsApp. So, I mean, it's just a question of installing a VPN. If you want a stable one, you pay, you know, but if not, there are free VPNs to bypass that.
Okay,
It's just a simple
it's okay. Let me come in. But if you want to look at China and, of course, how they go about, you know, apps and social media, you could understand that right now there's this more like a tussle or more like a rift as regards TikTok. As regards, you know, that particular app where Donald Trump seemed not to be okay with TikTok, and there have been various talking points about TikTok.
Now, you see, this is again part of the trade war. When you talk about TikTok, TikTok is not WhatsApp. TikTok, because it's owned by a Chinese person, right? Now, Donald Trump or people started talking about that because they want to take them over. Listen, what the government doesn't actually understand is just that sometimes it seems crazy. The real intention why China is not allowing WhatsApp is not because it's bad. No, it's because it's owned by America. The same way they're not allowing Google, but yet people bypass that. Do you know that WeChat, look at it, look it up. WeChat is the China version of WhatsApp, and actually WeChat do a lot, even within our company. You know, the branch in China use WeChat for payment processing. It's your identification. WeChat is used in tracking COVID-19 exposure. It's being used more than what WhatsApp is being used for. So China has their own version. It's a question of, okay, this is Chinese version, everything is in China, or do you want to use the English version, which is WhatsApp? So, but here we are, you don't even have anything. Honestly, you don't have anything. The only one you have is the one being developed by Americans, and you want to, are you in a trade war with America or China? So, you see, sometimes we need to understand, not just because something happens, and we think, oh, we need to control. Again, if you look at Dubai that controls that, and then ask yourself, Dubai is an Islamic nation. Dubai is, you know, ultra-conservative nation. For Christ's sake, Nigeria is a full-fledged democracy
Okay,
that became
at
a
this point,
republic in 1963.
okay, at this point, we have to go for a quick break. Mazi did talk about democracy, Nigeria being a democratic nation. But let's talk to Ankyo Briggs now. Hello, Ankyo. Hello,
Okay.
Ankyo, are you
Hello.
there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Nigeria as a democratic nation, with this proposed move on regulation of social media, does that in any way, threaten our democracy as a nation?
Of course, freedom of speech, expression, and freedom to access any information that is truthful is a basic human right. It's one of the pillars that democracy is standing on. When it becomes shaky or breaks away, the table collapses, democracy collapses. So yes, of course, it threatens democracy. That's why we're talking. If it doesn't threaten democracy and our basic rights, then we wouldn't have issues. It's because these things are set up to satisfy the oppressive and dictatorial nature of certain people in government at certain times when it suits them, and therefore we, the electorate, on whose powers they claim to be acting, then we must tell them that no, this is not in our interest. If you say that you're working in my interest and you're doing something and planning something and saying something that is not in my interest, it is my right and my responsibility to tell you. And amongst many, many other things that this government is constantly trying to push. Is it the water bill? Is it Ruga? Is it stopping the NSAS protest? What is it? So many, everything that they are proposing that is not in the interest of Nigeria, the future of Nigeria, the unity of Nigeria, in fact. We should be able to speak up. So it is anti-democratic, it is undemocratic. I don't know how else we want to express ourselves in this area. It is not acceptable.
Okay, now I actually want to stick with you, Ankyo, because I want to draw some form of narrative to this particular conversation. Now, still on the freedom of speech, like you rightly mentioned, there has been the concern of Nigerians when social media regulation is mentioned. Now, let's take a cue from the Bible, okay? What does the Bible say about freedom of speech? Can the person really say whatever they wish to express without any form of censorship or restraint? Should people be free to express anything they want, including obscenities, slander or deception, and all in the name of freedom of expression? Now, God's word gives us principles and guidelines of how we ought to express ourselves and how we should communicate our beliefs and opinion. This was further reflected in the verse of the scriptures in Galatians 5, verse 13. And it says, "You, my brothers, we are called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the sinful nature. Rather, serve one another in love." The Bible also tells us that we must be slow to speak. That, of course, is in James 1, verse 19. And that we must control or tame our tongue in James 3, verse 3 to 12. So shouldn't these also serve as a guide to Christians who sometimes involve themselves in hate speech or conversations that does not depict love for one another? What's your view, Ankyo?
I totally agree with you, because when you brought in that question, I quickly picked up my phone, and that's why social media is fantastic. Even before you finish quoting, I think Mazi is also flicking through something there. Even before you finish quoting it, I came up with Proverb 19:9. It says, "A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will perish." Psalm 101:7 says, "No one who practices deceit shall dwell in my house." This is God speaking. "No one who utters lies shall continue before my eyes." Truthful lips, Proverbs 12:19, endure forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. So this, as Christians now, this justifies and qualifies everything we have said so far this morning. We're not justifying lies if we say that the social media bill is trying to gag people. We're actually standing on the side of truth and on the side of telling the truth. You know, so if we say that don't gag us because you believe that some people are lying, go after the people that are lying with the law that is on ground. So even God himself is opposed to liars. So there is nothing wrong in what we are saying. What I find wrong is the people, the government that wants to shut us up for speaking the truth and for standing up for the truth because it is not in their interest. No, that's not acceptable. And it's a shame that we have Christians in the National Assembly. We have Christians in the government, in the FEC, in the Federal Executive Council, that where some of these decisions are made that very clearly is against the things that we believe in as Christians.
Okay, I'll come back to you in a bit, but let's talk to Mazi Ezeoke now. Hello, Mazi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Now, still dwelling on the scriptures on this matter, also our speech must seek to build and not destroyed, as reflected in Ephesians 4 verse 29. And it says, let no one corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as it fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. What's your reaction to this particular? Because apparently what we get to see on social media most times are words or expressions that could actually incite violence or create tension in the polity.
Well, I mean, first of all, you should know that Nigeria is a secular state and that not everyone reads the Bible or believes in it. And everyone, having said that, I must note here that as Christians, yes, the scripture you just quoted is, why should anyone lie? Why should you, speak in order to cause mayhem and havoc within a society? That is not acceptable. However, in a secular society, once something like that happens, that is why you have law. If I wake up today and I am slandering Ken Okeze, I am lying against you intentionally in order to malign, in order to impugn on your rights and on your person, you have the chance to take legal action against me, and that law exists today.
Okay. I'll come back to you in a bit. Let's talk to Ankyo now. Hello, Ankyo. Now, this talk about the social media bill doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. And there's been the talk from the National Assembly that this bill is not all about social media regulation, insisting that people need to look at entirety of the body of the work and why we might need that. What are your thoughts on this? Because they are saying the entire bill is not just about regulation of social media.
Well, I don't, I'm actually looking on Google, and Wikipedia, it seems to be the authority in upgrading and pushing out meanings of things, what people are saying, information, and all of that. And it actually has a section on the anti-social media bill in bracket Nigeria. And very clearly it says that this bill was introduced by the Senate and on the 5th of November, about a year ago now, to criminalize the use of social media in peddling false or malicious information, full stop. The original bill is protection from internet falsehood and manipulation bill. Now, if that is what this bill is about, then we are not in disagreement. What we are saying is the undertone, knowing this government. And now you may stop me, but I take responsibility for this, so there is no need to stop me. Now, we believe and have facts to show based on what is out there as information that this government have dwelled on misinforming our people. So now, if we are talking about misinformation, this government is the mother of misinformation. That's one. They keep information from us. They don't tell us about the health of the president. They don't tell us about where the president is. They don't tell us about so many things that we have rights to. So based on this type of past behavior, we have a right to be suspicious that this bill, apart from saying that it is being put up to stop people from lying against each other or even from lying against the government, then it means that there is an undercurrent, there is an undertone that the government wants to use this to stop free speech. The onus is now on the government by showing that that is not its intent. And how does it do that? It does that by restricting the government and the bill and itself primarily to the call that if anybody tells lies, and the Bible has also shown us that it is unacceptable. And I also want to believe that even the Quran, I've never read the Quran, I don't have an interest to read the Quran. So like all of us don't read the Bible, all of us don't read the Quran. So I am sure that there is a place where in the Quran where there are places where the Muslims also do not like lies. When I was a little girl growing up, one of the things that we were told about people from the north is that they don't lie, they don't tell you lies. But now, I mean, I don't know. I can also say that my people also don't tell lies because I don't tell lies. I don't believe in lies. I don't listen to it. I don't tell it. I'm not interested. But the fact is this: if somebody tells a lie against you, if somebody says something that is untrue, there are laws in Nigeria that you can go to court. So in that case, let us restrict ourselves. Let the government enable these laws and make sure that when I bring a case against you or Mazi for telling lies against me or vice versa, that first it will go through the court system very quickly, and the person who has told the lie will be cautioned and pay whatever price that person has to pay.
Okay.
But to say because people may lie or are lying, then everybody is a liar. No, I don't. I must retain my right to information.
Okay, let's do a follow-up to this. If there's anything that's been very pertinent, is the fact that if you look at a couple of weeks, we had the NSAS protests, and of course, the bold statement from the Minister of Information and Culture saying that with the trend of events in the country, it is very necessary that we actually regulate what happens on social media. Don't forget that all of the whole protest started first on social media. And he also said something that caught my attention in that press conference, that the next war in the world might actually start on social media. So apparently he's saying that the social media is actually a very vital tool, and it must be censored. Because if you look at the trend of events in Nigeria, for the past weeks, even days, the social media seem to be a very, very strong tool.
That shows you very clearly what I have just said, that we have reason to be concerned. Now, this is a government that was active between 2012, 13, 14 on social media on a daily basis, churning out falsehood, not just information now, false information, talking lies that we can prove. I take responsibility for this, that we can prove if we go back and bring out and thank God that whatever you put in social media and things like that, if Google captures it, even if you delete it from your Facebook and whatever, Google will hold on to it, so we can find these things. Now, this is a government that thrives on this. Now, if that government is saying that what it thrived on is now no longer a good thing, then it must first of all accept and apologize to Nigerians, and even apologize to the people that were victims of what they did. Social media was set up not for lies, not for propaganda, not for information manipulation. It was set up to be useful and helpful. Now, it can still be useful and helpful. It is useful and helpful. But because this truth, this usefulness and helpfulness is now working against the very people that used it to their benefit, is not acceptable at all. We must resist it. And I stand with the people who are saying we must resist it. That the EndSARS movement was actually planned and originated and was executed the way that it did, perfectly well almost, through social media, is what the problem of the government has become, because the government now knows that social media is not only for the propaganda and lies that it used it for, that actually you can use it to speak to government, and whether they like it or not, even the world will hear you, even if your government refuses to listen to you. That's the problem of this government and the Minister of Information.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Let's talk to Mazi. It's okay now. Hello, Mazi.
Yes, I'm here, Ken.
Yeah, now, for looking at the conversation this morning, a lot has been said about all the sides of social media, the advantages and, of course, the disadvantages. But also, we also know that that bill is actually at the floor of the National Assembly. Now, also, what can Nigerians do? Because if this bill gets passed, it is not going to become law. Okay, and because once it's law, there's nothing anyone can actually do about it. Because at this time, we can actually talk about it, we can deliberate, but once it becomes law, there's nothing anyone can do about it. So what would you tell Nigerians at this time, the average Nigerian, on the need to advocate right now?
Well, every Nigerian that is listening has a senator, has someone in the National Assembly, the red and the green chambers. It means simple. If you feel so strongly against this bill, you have every right to tell your representative how you feel about this social media bill. And in doing that, again, organizations like Human Rights and some other NGOs, once the public hearing comes up, will be attending that, and the objections again, and I think that's where we need to pay attention, not just the media noise, so to say, where genuine attention are raised and issues are taken line by line. You have the NBA's position on those. Issues are taken line by line and countered. Now, in doing that, one thing will now become clear. If by all these presentations, they go ahead and pass the bill, of course, we can still punish them. Every single person that was involved, then that's where the citizens need to wake up and be alive to their responsibilities, meaning that every single one of them will never get your single vote. Let them vote themselves in. Let's see it. But I believe it wouldn't get to that. This is not the first time. Remember, this is not the first time such bill was introduced in the House. And this is not going to be the second time, and this is not going to be the last time. But the people must continue fighting. It is about our freedom. You cannot take away the freedom away. That is one thing. This is a full-fledged democracy. Unless we say we don't, or we are not practicing democracy, then that's fine.
Okay.
If it's a military dictatorship, then that's fine. Then let's change the dance step, because it appears the music is changing.
Okay, quickly, let's take a look at social media and national security. That's even one of the bases for the regulation in U.S. Of course, also the issue with TikTok and all of that, because the U.S. has said it threatens national security. So that brings the question of social media and national security, because in recent times there has been widespread reports where some influencers or people disseminating information that is capable of leading to a breakdown of law and order and threatening national security. And I'll ask again, is that not another viable reason to want to say, okay, let's regulate social media? Because apparently, if you see what happens in some parts of the world, also in Nigeria, people just sit there at the click of a button, just incite violence and tension across the nation.
Please, again, I repeat, if you incite violence, if myself, Mazes, okay, a peace builder, if I incite violence, government have more than enough laws to deal with me and deal with me decisively. However, when you talk about national security, the greatest threat that we have today, in terms of national security is actually the government itself. The government actually lies to the people.
It's okay. Let me come in. When you say the government lies to the people, that's a very bold statement. So you have to substantiate that.
Okay, so what do you mean? So the government doesn't lie to people? Brick said that before. When the president was ill, were you told what he was suffering from? Were you even told? I mean, people were asking to the point that people had to go to Abuja House in London to protest Buhari, go home, Buhari, go home. So wasn't that lie, right? When we saw how when we trying to borrow money and the details we are being asked, and you saw a minister saying, no, let's not discuss about the details because it might upset the lenders. Let us discuss the details after we have borrowed money. Does that make sense? Is that not someone not telling you the entire truth? Do you know how, there is a lot of things happening today that you think, in the last couple of weeks, you saw palliative warehouses being broken into. Did you know that? Weren't you been lying that all the palliative have been shared? Suddenly people discovered that warehouses where these palliatives are kept. Is that not threatening the national security? What is national security if people are hungry? And people are hungry and angry and they cannot feed. I mean, let's not begin to itemize these things. There is a lot of things that is happening. The issue is government has become so omnibus that no one actually, they're not taking, you don't basically do nothing because they are government. They are so large. If not, they are trampling on our rights. How can you begin to prosecute people on the basis that they were demanding to be alive? Because that's what NSAS meant. NSAS meant stop shooting us, the young ones.
Okay.
We want to stay alive.
Okay, it's okay. I'll come back to you in a bit. Let's talk to Ankyo Brick now. Ankyo Bricks, are you there? Hello, Ankyo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's also look at the fact that some people in Nigeria seem to support this social media regulation. That is the Northern Governors Forum. They've declared support for Buhari's move to regulate social media. Northern Governors Forum during the week expressed support for the government's move, which he said was to check the spread of fake news in the country. A lot about fake news have been talked about this morning, but the forum expressed its support in a communique issued by its chairman and governor of Plateau State, Simon Lalong, after its meeting in Kaduna with traditional rulers and other key stakeholders in the region. The meeting, which said it took note of devastating effect of uncontrolled social media in spreading fake news. And the fact of fake news is becoming worrisome. Everyone is saying fake news, fake news. I might even want to get a clearer understanding of what fake news is anyway. But they also called for a major control mechanism and censorship of social media practice in Nigeria. So, Ankyo, coming from the northern part of the country, saying we are in support of this move by this administration, how does that come to you as well?
First of all, in my activities of 22 years in speaking truth to power, speaking truth on behalf of my people and my region, and basically all lovers of truth in Nigeria, I have also come to accept, and I take responsibility for this, that the North, as a region, as a group, as a religion even, have come to represent the opposition to everything and anything that is in the interest of the people of the South. Everything and anything that is in the interest of Christians. This is my position and I take responsibility for it. Another thing that bothers me is that when they call meetings of northern governors, the middle belt is represented in this meeting of northern governors. When we have meetings of people that are not particularly in government, but want a change of what government is doing, the middle belt is also in it. So in my opinion now, the middle belt also have to stop confusing first itself and others along with it. Having said that, this falsehood, as they claim, of social media, I said earlier on that if something is untrue and it is pushed out in social media, there are laws to take care of that. Therefore, there is no reason to go to the National Assembly and push the laws that are already on the table aside and bring a fresh law to say that the National Assembly has decided, for whatever reason, to bring a new law that will close my mouth, zip my mouth from speaking what is in my heart, because they have decided that whatever that is going to be, it is going to be a lie. No, you cannot decide before the fact that what I'm going to say is a lie when you will not allow me to say to you before the fact, and I mean the government, not you personally, to say to you that what you are going to say to me is also a lie. I don't know if you've been watching the what is going on in America, but throughout yesterday and the night, after Donald Trump made a statement, every single person, even people of his own party, are saying that he is claiming that there is manipulation of the election. That's why he is losing. And they are saying to him, no, you can't make that statement without providing the facts to show that the election is being manipulated against you. So what we are saying here from Africa is no different just because we're saying it from Africa or just because it's black people that are saying it. It doesn't make it any less of a fact that you cannot say that something is a lie or negative when you cannot prove it. I've told you that I say that this government have been telling us lies, and I can go into Google and bring out those reasons to prove why I say so. Now, if the government says it's not true, then the government can go to court. But my evidence will be what I have been able to show based on even what the government has said. The government said it has defeated Boko Haram technically. The government said Boko Haram does not really exist to the extent that communities are taking over. But that's not true. Communities, people are displaced, majorly in the northeast. People are being killed in Kaduna, in Kaduna State, in southern Kaduna. You cannot say that this is not true. The army killed people in Zaria, Sakibiam, no, not Sakibiam, this sect of Islam. They killed them nearly in their thousands, but they denied it and accepted only about 300 and something killings that they buried in mass grave. That was a lie right from the beginning. It remains a lie. They killed people in that place. So why is it that I cannot say that the government have conducted itself on lies?
Okay, Anki, I'll come back to you in a bit, but let's talk to Mazi Ezoke now. Mazi, are you there?
Yes, I am.
We did talk about the reaction or the stance of northern governors on this particular matter, but more voices during the week lashed out at the leaders of the northern region for the decision to restrict the social media in addition to other controversial resolutions taken on its Monday Kaduna meeting. It is understood that the meeting was attended by governors, lawmakers, traditional rulers, and other prominent citizens of the region, which includes the Chief of Staff to the President, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, the Inspector General of Police, IGP, of course, the Senate President, Ministers of Information, and the Federal Capital Territory. What's your take on the Northern Governor's stand on this matter? Do you think that they might have a point, or do you think that maybe they should actually look at other issues affecting their region other than looking at social media at this time?
Now, okay, let's break this down for everyone to understand. What is the reason why they suddenly got upset with social media? That in the South, people were discovering warehouses, palliative warehouses, that the North, as it were, saw via social media the discoveries in the South, and they went hunting. That is their anger, right? That's because, let's get this clear, that they went hunting to the point that even those who did not participate in protest actually looted more than those that participated in protest. Having said that, if you now just oppose that to their anger, because it's sad, when I read the 18th point, it's really sad that about 15 of those points were just about NSAS and social media, which is a tragedy. Now, this is a region that suffers from the Amajiri syndrome. This is a region that suffers from a lot. I mean, when you talk about number of children out of school, when you talk about child's or underage marriage, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist elsewhere, but at least where you have the prevalence of that. And when you talk about banditry, herdsmen basically ravaging farms and all these things, where it is the hot seat, and none of these things bothers them. You have in the National Assembly where assemblymen that have police escort will tell you, Mr. Speaker, I can no longer go to my constituency. Now, if a House of Assemblymen with police assigned to him, those he can also pay extra and get, and he cannot go to his house and sleep. Imagine what the average person does. We have seen what happens in Zamfara. We have seen what happens in Katsina and Kaduna. It doesn't bother them about the killings in the southern Kaduna. It doesn't bother them about the happenings in Zamfara state. And it doesn't bother them about what is happening in the northeast. But what bothers them is, the information that we are being shared on social media. It boggles the mind to think that we have the level of people we call leaders in this country is nothing but a shame. Really, a shame that your people are dying from preventable diseases. You do not care. Your people are dying from, people who come in to maim, destroy, and kill your own people. It doesn't bother you. Rather, you're bothering about your image and how and what people say about you in the media, in the social media. Because obviously, that's why you have seen a couple of televisions being fined, because what they did their journalistic duty, the duty to basically stream and show this is what is happening in Lagos. People are protesting. People are protesting in Anambra. People are protesting in Rivers State. These stations that showed these protests in the year 2020, for Christ's sake, we are not talking about 1984, in the year 2020, and they get fined. I mean, if those that, if the lawyers, if this is not challenged, we are gradually sliding into dictatorship, because this must not allow to stand. And again, I am so disappointed if the northern governors gathered and all they could discuss in all the mirage of information, negativities plodding their regions, and all they could discuss is about social media, then I say that is a catastrophic shame.
Wow, what a statement.
Hello.
Now, if you are to talk to the Federal Executive Council, maybe also to the persons that actually hold very critical positions in this country and are also very involved in this proposed move, as a Nigerian, a social media, influencer, and someone that do a lot of campaign on social media, what would you tell that council now or those leaders?
Well, it will not be any different from what we've been discussing here. The attempt to regulate the social media, the way that the government, the FEC, National Assembly, anything, wants to regulate social media is unacceptable. It is infringing on our rights to information and our rights to giving information, our rights to receiving information. Are they saying that we are not adult enough and responsible enough to look at information, listen to information, and question that information even before we make decisions? There are laws already. This bill should not be allowed to go any further than it is. We reject this bill because it is not necessary to have this bill against Nigerians. That remains my position. Now we have also. I'm just looking on the net, and I'm seeing that the central bank actually went to court and have been granted a permission or their request to freeze the bank accounts of some young Nigerians across Nigeria who are using their own funds to push a project that they believe in. And this government is freezing their accounts and seizing their passport. Now, that is oppression. It is oppressive. It's just the same exact thing as they want to do with social media. There is no difference. Now, so this shows very clearly why certain people from certain parts of Nigeria are determined to impoverish and keep other people impoverished, even from their own region, because of this type of thing. Because I tell you, my brother, if anybody, I believe passionately in what I'm doing. So any fund I have will go into what I am doing and what I believe in, that is in the best interest of my people and my region and humanity. Now, any attempt to curtail that, as long as I am not breaking the law, is unacceptable. I don't even understand what they mean by inciting violence. What's the meaning of inciting violence, for God's sake? When people speak the truth of what is happening, is that inciting violence? When somebody says, why should Zamfara State have gold that it is mining and keeping for itself without it being gazetted for the use of the whole of Nigeria, and that people in Niger Delta, somebody like me, cannot have a refinery that I can refine, even if it is 1,000 barrels of oil a day? That why can I not have that right to refine the oil that is in my backyard, when somebody like Dangote can build such a humongous refinery, the biggest refinery, I think, in the world, if not in Africa, if not in the world, with the oil that is in Niger Delta? That's where he's planning to bring the oil. And when I say that this is not fair and unacceptable to us in the Niger Delta, somebody says it is inciting violence. How is that inciting violence?
Okay, but quickly, let's look at a particular narrative, and I would like to talk to Mazi. Is okay now. Hello, Mazi.
Yes, I'm here.
Now, hypothetically, if the government is saying we want to use this bill or this measure to curb fake news, we want to use it to actually curb whatever will actually create tension and affect Nigerians and Nigeria. If you are to talk to that government as well, hypothetically right now, and because I know you do a lot of social media influencing, a lot of activities on social media. Anki has told us a bit, but if you are to actually tell the government, okay, it seems Nigerians are not really okay with this. Is there any other thing you could do? Because if you want to actually fish out the bad eggs, in quotes, what are other things you think that the government must do or can do to address the situation? Because apparently the people are not okay with this particular move.
I think, first of all, I would tell the government to be upfront with the people. You know, let's take for a start. Since this government came in from the first time to this second time, you probably wouldn't have seen, maybe counted not more than 3 times that the government has ever addressed the people, not these pre-recorded speeches that is being played to you.
I have to come here. I have to come in here. It's okay. When you say pre-recorded the speeches, those are statements that you have to substantiate, because what we hear is the president is supposed to give Nigeria a live broadcast, and that's what we see. So when you say,
well, I mean, it's even if I record a speech, I can still play it to be live. It doesn't matter. But now what I'm saying is, okay, if speeches are being given to us, and we are saying, because the question he asked me is what I would tell the government. I would tell the government to be upfront with the people. First of all, start talking with the people. Okay? Now, sit down, have a conversation with the people. Would we have gotten where we are with the NSAS protest if the government actually came out, addressed the people or the head of the government as a father? Probably not. Now, when we engage, because there is an adage in Igbo that says, if a man goes to the meeting and you prevent him from talking, on his way back, whatever he should have said in the meeting, he's saying it on the road and going. So that's the thing. Because if people feel that you are not engaging them, they had 1 or 2 things to tell you, you're not engaging them. Obviously, not everyone has the money to go to the media. I mean, you know it, how it plays out. What they do, they will have to go on social media, which is free for them, and start talking. Now, some of the things that they are saying might be wrong. Again, you can see that sometimes the intent is not actually to mislead, but based on the information they had. For instance, if someone in a couple of years back, as the president was in England, if someone started talking about, oh, I think the president, based on the science, has this XYZ disease, he or she might be right or wrong, we don't know. But that could be seen as a hate speech against a president. But why did that happen? That's a question we must ask. That happened because someone who ought to be upfront with you, because after all, you pay the medical bills, you and I do. Now, should have told you, okay, on this date, yes, I have migraine, I have XYZ, I'm going to, because I need specialist attention. I mean, there are things you do, you begin to win empathy. My advice to government is please talk to your people more. Win their empathy. Show them that you care. As of today, that is not happening. I believe if the government is serious, they have to look into that to change. And again, when it comes down to the social media bill, I think the social media bill at this stage should be stepped down. Okay. We have a lot of tension in the country already.
Okay, thank you so much, Mazi Ezeoke. Mazi Ezeoke, like I did tell you, is a public affairs analyst, of course, a social media influencer. Thank you so much, Mazi Ezeoke, for being a part of today's show. I hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and of course, to Ankyo Briggs that talked to us today about this particular topic as well. She is a human rights activist. Thank you so much, Ankyo Briggs, for joining us this morning.